What if I told you that after you give birth, your baby may not completely leave your body? Imagine this. A woman gives birth, her baby grows up, 10 years pass, 20 years, maybe even 40 years, but something from that pregnancy may still be living inside her body. Not a memory, not just DNA passed through a family. Actual cells that originally came from her baby. And scientists have found them in places you probably wouldn't expect. In the skin, the liver, the thyroid, the lungs, the heart, and even the brain. So how did the baby's cells get there? And why are some of them still there decades later? The answer begins with the placenta. We often think of the placenta as a barrier separating mother and baby. But during pregnancy, tiny numbers of cells can cross it. Cells from the mother can enter the baby's circulation. And fetal cells can enter the mother's circulation. Most eventually disappear, but some don't. Some fetal origin cells can remain in the mother's body for years, or even decades after the pregnancy ends. Scientists call this fetal microchimerism. And that's where this story gets much more interesting. Because researchers started asking, what are these cells doing there? Researchers have found fetal origin cells in maternal tissues affected by injury or disease. And some of these cells appear capable of behaving in ways similar to progenitor or stem-like cells. They can migrate, they can settle into tissues, and under certain circumstances, they may even take on characteristics of the tissue around them. That led researchers to a fascinating possibility. Could cells left behind from pregnancy actually participate in repairing the mother's body? We don't have a simple yes or no answer, but some of the observations are remarkable. Consider a cesarean section scar. During a C-section, the mother's tissue is cut and then has to repair itself. Researchers examining healed C-section scars have identified cells of fetal origin within maternal scar tissue. Some of those cells showed characteristics associated with tissue repair and remodeling. Think about that for a moment. Cells originating from the pregnancy were still present in the mother's body and were found within tissue that had undergone healing. But that's not the only example. Researchers studying maternal skin wounds have also observed fetal-derived cells being recruited toward injured tissue. Some were associated with processes involved in inflammation and angiogenesis, the formation of new blood vessels. And new blood vessels are an important part of wound healing. This has led to an extraordinary idea. Perhaps pregnancy leaves behind a tiny population of cells that, under certain circumstances, can respond when maternal tissue is injured. It sounds almost like the baby leaves behind a microscopic repair team. But this is where we have to separate a beautiful idea from what science can actually prove. Did the baby really heal the mother? Not exactly, or at least, we can't say that yet. Finding fetal cells at an injury doesn't automatically prove that they caused the tissue to heal. They may participate in repair. They may respond to signals released by injured tissue. And their role may be different depending on the organ, the type of injury, and the individual. Scientists are still trying to understand exactly what these cells do. And there is another side to the story. Fetal origin cells have also been studied in connection with autoimmune diseases and certain cancers. In some situations, researchers have proposed that they could be protective. In others, they might contribute to disease. And sometimes they may simply be present without causing either. So fetal microchimerism shouldn't be described as your baby's cells automatically healing your body. The truth is actually more interesting. Pregnancy may permanently change the cellular makeup of a mother's body. Here's another fascinating part. The cellular exchange isn't only from baby to mother. Maternal cells can cross into the fetus too. That means some of your cells may remain inside your child. So pregnancy may create a biological connection that continues long after the umbilical cord is cut. Mother carries cells from baby. Baby may carry cells from mother. And those tiny populations of cells can potentially remain for years. When we talk about pregnancy, we usually think of two separate people. A mother, and a baby growing inside her. Then birth happens, the cord is cut, and physically they separate. But biology is a little more complicated. For months, cells have been moving between those two bodies. And some of them may stay. Years later, a mother may still carry cells that originated from the baby she once carried. Perhaps in her skin, perhaps in an organ, perhaps quietly doing nothing at all, or perhaps responding when something happens to the tissue around them. Scientists are still discovering what all of this means. But one thing is clear. Pregnancy doesn't necessarily end at the cellular level when the baby is born. So when someone says, "I carried my baby with me for 9 months," Biology may have a surprising response. A tiny part of your baby might have stayed much longer.